Yeah, I do like that strength agility combo myself, but it doesn't seem that common, especially in the later stages of that randomizer tournament that we just had. It does seem like the strength HP is the one that everybody favors. Just because while that strength agility does sometimes improve your run rates and a little bit of your defense in Sherlock in the late game, that HP can sometimes be the difference between whether you get to go a level early or a level later to fight the Dragon Lord.
Oh yes, definitely. And goodness knows I've seen enough seeds where either HP or strength, even with the strength HP builds on it, just those stat gains just aren't there.
Exactly. So we do want that strength and HP to be as high as possible, as at the end of the day, those are the two most important stats for taking down the Dragon Lord. And so everybody going ahead and maximizing that strength and HP in their builds. And once again, it looks like we, in IRC, we are underway, just waiting for the restream to catch up here, as I'm sure it will momentarily, and we will see what items we have in the throne room. CD Improv, you can be whatever you want to be. Alrighty, first item, we have gold. And we have Erdrick's sword, the big stick, right off the bat. Oh my goodness, we got a key. We have outside, we have Hurtmore, we have the big stick, we have 30, did I see 30 strength?
That's 30 agility.
30 agility, well, no shortage of defense for our runners here, and it is off to the races between Hurtmore and Erdrick's sword. They're going to have no problem at all. Normally, you'd want to look at that gold. You know, everyone's right above 560 gold for getting that hand axe from a town, but now that doesn't matter. It's a matter of who can get the levels the fastest. Up to NG with an early lead, actually getting to level 3 off of a wolf, getting himself, level 4 actually, excuse me, and finding the first town. Up to NG with the lead, finds 6th town. Let's see what he does with his money. And we do see that full plate mail, very tantalizing, very taunting. 3,000 gold gets you the 3rd best armor in the game, but we don't have that money yet. I do believe he bought himself a set of clothes, doing the modesty thing. And we did see a silver shield, and oh, but Zarnax has found the town of Rimeldar. Zarnax is going to be the first to get keys, and that, in my mind, would actually put him at a large advantage over the other runners. But here's Nest Cardinality right behind him. No, sorry, Nest Cardinality went south, went to Breckenary. Nope's right out. No, actually, he left, and then he was like, wait a second, I should go see what armor is available here. He's probably going to buy himself some clothes. Let's see if he does. All right, so Nest Cardinality and Up to NG both doing the modesty route. Up to NG, I imagine, bought himself a dragon scale, some torches, and some herbs. Had plenty of money to do all that stuff. Meanwhile, oh, Mr. Holmes looks like he's headed over to where Zarnax was, but no! An Axe Knight takes him out right before he can get inside. I don't know what that other town is. I assume that he's in the same spot that Zarnax is. So it looks like 3 towns already. This might be one of the quickest races that you will ever see. Holmes already on his way back. If this is the town of either Cantlin or Cole, this could be huge. Let's see what it is. Zarnax heading inside. It is the town of Hawksness. Now, Hawksness, normally, at level 3, you don't want to try to fight whatever's here. But if it's an Axe Knight, sitting here on this tile, it's very, very easy to take that out. About 90% chance to take that out with a single Heartmore. That's going to be a lot of levels. That's going to be a lot of experience real quick. And Mr. Holmes finding the town of Rimeldar.
Yeah, Rimeldar, definitely probably one of the first towns you want to see, if only so you have key access. Unfortunately, Hawksnest has an Axe Knight, and it's a bit too much for Zarnax, at least for the time.
Yeah, Zarnax not that far away. He's already back in the Hawksnest, even though he died. And Nest Cardinality's right there. Mr. Holmes is right there. 35 MP at level 5. Going to be able to take out potentially a lot of Axe Knights. It's really going to come down to that first roll, whether or not you actually get that first kill. Zarnax trying to put the Axe Knight to sleep. I don't know if that was the best play. Just go for the hurt more. And up to NG, I think he died in Hawksnest, so instead, going to the treasury finds a fighter's ring. Looks like that was going to be a key and some gold. I didn't see what was in that first treasure chest.
That was the death necklace.
Okay, yes, the death necklace. You want to tell them what the death necklace does? Let's remind our viewers.
Yes. At least in the randomizer, I don't remember if it really has any true functionality in the vanilla game, but when you put it on, for one, it curses you, which doesn't allow you to get into Tangential Castle at all. But at least in the randomizer, if you wear it, you'll pay about 25% of your max HP to get plus 10 strength.
That's right, so sacrifice for a gain, and up to NG finds the Swamp Cave and Tangential Basement, which leads him right to the back of Garanham. And he's going to find the Stones of Sunlight. He's got a quest item. And he's going to find the Silver Harp. And he's going to find gold. And folks, up to NG by complete accident has triggered a gold grind. And he knows that I believe it was in Breckenary, there is a Silver Shield and full plate armor waiting for him. So with Erdrick's armor, or Erdrick's sword already in his possession, all he's got to do, I don't know if he's got a wing or not, but all he's got to do is walk back through that cave. Oh, they have the outside spell. I didn't see if he went, if he started from the top or the bottom, but it's not going to be too hard for him to get back to town and go and make those big end game purchases. Now we see Nest Cardinality. Looks like he got bopped out of Hawksnest, and he's going to do the same thing here. He's going to clear out the treasury. I imagine he's going to go right to the basement of Tantagel, and he's going to be right in the same position that up to NG is.
And I do believe at least Nest Cardinality and Mr. Holmes were able to take out the Axe Knight and Hawksnest and got what I believe to be Edric's armor.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed what the search spot was.
I believe that's Edric's armor at the search spot.
Alrighty, so that's going to be unfortunate, because look at up to NG here. He's going for a lot of gold. I'm not sure why he was going for so much gold. All that there is to buy that I can think of, he's already got Erdrick's sword, unless he forgot. And I would only be going up to about 18,000 here to get a silver shield. But 35,000, he's still going. I am very perplexed as to what up to NG's doing here.
Well,
this is definitely something
I wouldn't think you would need that much money unless you don't expect to survive the trip back. So he's gotten over twice the amount of the Silver Shield will ever be. So if he dies, he'll still have enough.
That's true, you're right. And running into this red dragon here in the Swamp Cave, it looks like his diligence has paid off. And he's going to die, but he's going to go back with enough gold to buy that full plate and that silver shield. But look, but Nest Cardinality, he went up to level 8. Level 8 has the return spell. He didn't have to do any of that. He just hits the return spell, has enough gold for the Silver Shield. Gonna go ahead and buy that, but slight advantage to up 2 NG. I take that back. And Nest Cardinality was able to stop at 14,000 because he already had Erdrick's armor, so up 2 NG doesn't know that Erdrick's armor is in Hawksness yet, so he wants to buy full plate. So he's going to have full plate. Full plate's going to help him out when he goes back, I imagine, to Hawksness, and then he'll pick up that Erdrick's armor, and he'll be right on the same footing as Nest Cardinality.
Unfortunately, Zarnax still having issues with that Axe Knight in Hawksness.
Yeah, I don't know the math off the top of my head, but I do believe it's about an 80 to 90% chance. It's not a guarantee that you get the first try hurt more, the one-shot hurt more. But the odds are pretty high, so for Zarnax to not be able to keep grinding for this long, getting bopped out this many times, definitely unlucky. Nest Cardinality now finding Garenham and Sharlock. Looks like he... I didn't see if he walked through the cave or what exactly he did, but I did see Sharlock, so we know where Sharlock is.
The issue with Zarnax, I don't think he's actually beaten the Axe Knight the first time yet. So he doesn't have Edric's armor as of yet. And meanwhile, up to NG finding Hawkness as well. And I apologize for delay on in when I'm seeing things. We had some issues for the restream leading up to this.
Alrighty, well now it looks like Zarnax is back in Sharlock, and it looks like he has taken out that Axe Knight. He should have the armor now. He's not searching the spot, so I do believe he has the armor. Mr. Holmes now, he looks like he stayed in the Cantlin Hawksness area for quite a while. And grinded all the way up to level 10, so he's got a slight lead. Nest Cardinality first to find Cole. Now, we know there's 4 spots south of this pool here. We could have the Fairy Flute, or we could have the token. It is the Flute. So now the token, we haven't seen any cursed belts yet, so that leads us to believe that the token's on the map, but we don't know for sure. Still a lot of treasure chests out there to find, as Mr. Holmes now in the same position that Nest Cardinality and up to Aegean were momentarily ago. Not that long ago, excuse me. And he has triggered his gold grind, and he's going to go ahead. He's got Erdrick's armor. All he wants is that shield. And he definitely has return. He's level 10, so all he's got to do is go up to, 15,000 or, how... It just depends on how much pocket change he wants. And Nest Cardinality now finding the Jerk Cave. And what can we do with this Jerk Cave? Please remind me.
As of now, absolutely nothing except get kicked out. But once you have the Staff of Rain, the Stones of Sunlight, and Edric's Token, you can trade them all in for the Rainbow Drop, which is what is required to enter Sharlock Castle. If you do not have Edric's Token, at the very least, he will forcibly remove you from the cave, hence the...
Oh, and we do have Cantlin found for Nest Cardinality, which I do believe means that we have seen all 6 towns in the game. And now we will find out fairly quickly whether or not the token's on the map or in a treasure chest.
And if we have coordinates, how nasty they'll end up being.
Wow, these coordinates. 14 south, 26 west. No, that might not necessarily be a particularly easy count. That was kind of a weird-looking starting continent here. But for Nest Cardinality, counting is generally not a problem. If there was a master of counting out coordinates, it would be Nest Cardinality himself. But I'm sure 14 south, 26 west, if that's on the main continent, and if there's not a lot of tricky walking that you have to do going around little lakes or inlets or whatever, I don't think that's going to be too much of a challenge for any of our runners. As Nest Cardinality finding a dark cave and choosing not to... I don't know if he bonked or if he tried to explore that at all, but he was not interested in whatever was going on in that cave. Zarnax might be right behind him. I think that Zarnax is actually in the mountain cave, I do believe, because he was walking west. So we'll find out momentarily here, assuming he can get away from this this golem.
Yeah, just from the path that he was walking in the dark, that does look like mountain cave.
No, it looks like okay. Unfortunately, it does look like we're both wrong. He was in fact in the swamp cave, and I think. Yep, Zarnax is the last of our restreams, our featured runners here, to get into Garenham. And he's going to go ahead, he's going to do the same thing that the runners before us have done. He's going to go ahead and grind up his gold, and he's going to get himself that silver shield, and we'll all be on even footing with the best equipment. Folks, we're not even 15 minutes into this race. Level 10 on up to NG. Level 10 at least on Mr. Holmes. And the best equipment that you can find in the game. Mr. Holmes, the first to find the Shrine Cave. That's pretty big.
Oh, yes. Especially since they already have the Silver Harp. They can all go ahead and trade that in for the Staff of Rain. And now all we need is that.
So we're kind of in one of those interesting situations now where a lot of our featured runners have information that the other needs. Nest Cardinality knows. He's got the coordinates, he knows where the token is, but he doesn't know where the Shrine Cave is.
And I'm also convinced that Zarnax has not found Breckenary because he just bought a large shield in Garenham.
Oh, that's right. He was having so much trouble. You know, he was so focused on Hawksnest and getting some levels off those Axe Knights that it doesn't surprise me he just never thought to go south. And so he's got money. I think he might be a little bit short of the money needed for a silver shield, but not that much short. So if he can make his way back to Breckenary before he dies, he can still get himself that silver shield. It would be an awful shame if he were the only one of our featured runners not to get one.
Though that's assuming that none of the other towns has it for sale. So it was Nest Cardinality was the first one to find Cantlin, yes?
As I understand it, yes, and that would make looks like Zarnax is the second to find, and so now he's got the coordinates as well.
I was just wondering if Nest Cardinality had tried to walk that out yet or not.
No, it looks like he's pretty content to stay on this kind of second continent here. It looks like Zarnax is trying to count out the coordinates. And so I think I haven't seen Nest Cardinality make any kind of deliberate steps that would indicate that he wants to search for those coordinates. But he has found Breckenary, but not checking the weapon shop. Oh, Zarnax. He's so focused on trying to figure out if he can count out the coordinates or not that he didn't check the weapon shop, and so he's going to miss out on that silver shield. Now look! Now Zarnax is the first that I think to kind of figure out what I thought might be the possibility. Look, yep.
Oh,
Yep. It's going to be on the second continent. You got to go through that swamp cave in order to get to the coordinates.
I'm thinking perhaps making a quick stop at the swamp cave might be in the works as well.
It's possible for some of our runners that they might choose to see if they can rescue Gwalen. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one or two of our runners, you can see that swamp there below the mountain range. And I think if you can find yourself a reference point and figure out where that is on the other side, if it's not that far away, then you wouldn't have to necessarily rescue Gwalen, but it would make the job a lot easier for sure.
Although I want to say at least somebody has checked the trap tile in the swamp cave, and it is a red dragon. If I saw it correctly, anyway.
I know up to a G ran into a red dragon in the cave. I didn't notice whether or not it was on the spike tile. We'll have to wait and see. If indeed it is a red dragon, looks like our HP values are still pretty low. And no heal more spell. Oh! Alrighty, up to a G finally lands one. He's got a Kaishin no Ichigeki to take down the Axe Knight before it can kill him. But it looks like this one is going to go ahead and take him out. And we do get a check here on our stats. Up to a G, 85 HP at level 12. Would like a little bit more than that. And even with that 90 defense power, I don't think that's going to be enough in order to take out a red dragon. If in fact that's what's guarding Gwalen, that may force our runners. Honestly, in this position, it's kind of a toss-up, because you need to grind for heal more anyway. You're not going to... Oh, never mind. I see Mr. Holmes has heal more. So heal more is at level 11. So Zarnax is going to have that, and Opportunity is going to have it too. So that does open up, in fact, the option of going to rescue the princess. And now Up to G is heading to the swamp cave. Going to go to the opposite continent. But first, does he stop to rescue the princess? He's casting Radiant. So yeah, it looks like his plan is to go ahead and rescue this princess. I'm not sure. I don't think he's found Caitlin yet. So I think he's doing this kind of preemptively.
It's not a bad option. If you're thinking you might have trouble in the future, it's not a bad option, especially if it's so close to.
Absolutely, yeah. If the princess is on your way and you've got the tools, you know that you can do it, and whatever was in Up to a G's way, he sure made quick work of it. I completely missed it, but he's got the princess in his arms, and alrighty, off we go.
Yeah, I missed it too, unfortunately.
Oh, it does look like it was in fact a red dragon, so he must have he must have gotten another critical hit to take out that red dragon. That's Cardinality. Ahead in exploration a little, so a little bit behind in experience, is going to hit level 11 here. And again, he is ahead in exploration. That is important to point out. He doesn't have the staff yet. Up to a G's got the staff and the stones, just needs the token. Mr. Holmes now going to try and count these coordinates out. He's going to get the sad news that, I'm very sorry, but you're either going to need to figure out how to get to the other side of that mountain range, or you're going to need to rescue a princess, because this is going to be real tough.
Oh yeah.
But I want to see someone try it. Now I know that. So here's the thing. So Up to and G knows the princess is right there on the way to the second continent. Why not just grab her, take her back to the king, go back downstairs, hit the outside spell, figure out where you are, go grab that token. That's a completely valid play. But Mr. Holmes, on the other hand, he could be, and Escarnality too, could be thinking, no, I want to try to figure this out and count it out on my own. And it looks like that's what... Oh, okay. No, Nescarnality's doing some other clever stuff here. If he's doing what I think he's doing, that was actually kind of a clever play.
And it turns out that the trap tile in swamp was an Axe Knight. So, I guess the red dragon is just a random encounter.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw him hit the red dragon on the spike tile. He must have hit it right next to the spike tile. But Nescarnality doesn't need light spells. He's got every cave in this game completely memorized. He is on his way to rescue Gwalen. Not going to bother trying to figure out how to get to the other side of that mountain range. And Mr. Holmes lighting up the swamp cave. He's going to do the same thing. Now, slight difference here. Nescarnality did a very clever thing, and I just want to point this out real quick. Nescarnality noticed that when you enter from the tentacle side of the swamp cave, you enter from the bottom, and he wanted to, as quickly as possible, get to the spike tile. And so he cast outside, and outside will always take you out of the top exit of swamp cave. And so you enter from tentacle side, hit outside, you land on the Garanham side, and then you go back down the stairs, and then you have a much shorter path to get to the princess. And so Nescarnality just saving a little bit of time. Saving a little bit of time for himself there. And so now it looks like, I think once Nescarnality turns in this princess, he's going to have a slight lead over everybody. Because he knows where the jerk is.
Yeah, I believe, I want to say this cardinality. I know at least one other person in our restream here has found it. I forget who it was. I'm noticing up to NG is still carrying the princess around. If memory serves, if you die with the princess, she goes right back to the swamp cave. Right?
That is correct. I think up to NG is feeling pretty safe. I think he wanted to find that cave. And so now he knows where to go with his staff and his stones and his token once he gets all that together. There may be something else that he's looking for on the map. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. And now that I think about it, I know why Nescarnality didn't bother exploring Mountain or the Grave. They're not needed. You don't need to go in the Mountain or the Grave. You've got the ring, you've got the Death Necklace, you've got all 3 quest items. And we never had to go. There were 10 chests. Actually, now that I think about it, there were 18 chests in this game that are going to go completely unchecked. Wow. The 7 in Sharlock, actually 19 chests. 7 in Sharlock, 10 in Mountain Cave and the Grave, and one in each of the bonus cave, which Nescarnality found and didn't bother to check, and also Tablet Cave. And so we don't have to do any of that. And up to NG, okay, up to NG still needed the staff. He didn't have the staff yet, but he does now. And
yeah,
so
I thought one of the others had, but I thought it was up to NG. It must have been one of the others. I'll have to.
Mr. Holmes, Mr. Holmes, I just saw the staff in his inventory.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Holmes has the staff, and now up to NG also has the staff, and I'm a little surprised. Oh, okay. I was expecting up to NG to hit the return spell because Sharlock's right next to Garenham. And, yeah, Sharlock's right next to Garenham. He knows that... Oh! Up to NG hasn't found Cantlin. That's what he's doing.
Ah, that's right.
He doesn't have the coordinates yet. He hasn't found Cantlin. And he's going to go ahead and check this chest. He doesn't need whatever's inside. I guarantee you he doesn't need whatever's inside. He will take the torch, just as a safety. It's helpful to have a couple extra torches for, multiple Sharlock dives, but... Okay, so up to NG is, I think, the last runner to get the coordinate. And so once he finds the town of Cantlin, it's going to be no problem for him to be in Goma.
And it looks like Mr. Holmes is tracking down the token, already starting to use the Gwaelin positioning system, as is often referred to.
A metal slime standing in his way, though, very hard to run from them as they do have 255 agility, the most that you can have in the game. He's done 2 damage to it so far. Can he do a third? No, the metal slime runs away. And I think Nescarnality died with the princess in tow because he did rescue the princess again.
Yeah.
And it looks up to NG is going through the tablet cave. And I imagine he must be guessing that maybe because he hasn't found Cantlin yet, and he knows the seed is going by so quickly, he must be hoping that the token is in one of these chests, but we know that it's not. Yeah, we know it's on the map.
But up to NG does not, so you can't make assumptions at this point. You see a cave, there's a free item, there's no risk at all, aside from losing time. You might as well.
Exactly, and I'm not faulting for it at all. I mean, he's checked the bonus cave. That takes, 10 seconds? He checked we've got the outside spell, so checking the tablet cave takes about 25 seconds at the most, depending on your navigation skills. And I don't know where Caitlin was. Everything was found so quickly. I don't know where Caitlin is in relative to anything else. So the real unfortunate thing here is that up to NG, I don't know if he's close to Caitlin or not. But it looks like he just entered the grave, and if he takes time to explore the grave here, that's just going to put him that much further behind. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. And Nest Cardinality successfully returning the princess this time.
And it looks like Mr. Holmes found the token with no problem and is the first to get the rainbow drop, so he can go into Sherlock whenever he wants. I have to imagine he's going to go back to Hawksness now and grind until he feels ready to take on the Dragon Lord. But, folks, we're not even at 30 minutes and Mr. Holmes is in go mode. What more do you want out of this race? This is going to be record-setting for a weekly at least, if not for other instances. But sub 30 minutes and we're in go mode. And with an Axe Knight at Hawksness, I mean, Zarnax is already at level 14. And unfortunately, he's pretty far behind in terms of items. He doesn't have the staff. He doesn't have the token. I'm not sure that he knows where it is. I think he does.
Yeah, but he did find Caitlin, so he does have the coordinates.
Okay, he does have the coordinates, so that's good. And so, unfortunately for Zarnax, I mean, he's got, 3,000 experience lead over Holmes, and a slightly lesser lead over Nest Cardinality up to NG, but even when he gets to a point where he thinks he can kill the Dragon Lord, he's got items left to find. And he's hitting the return spell, interestingly enough. He had a lot more MP left to go through. I wonder what he's going to do now.
Maybe he's gonna go rescue the princess.
Perhaps. Nest Cardinality is scouring the island, and he thinks he knows kind of the direction that he needs to go to find the token. He's just kind of making broad steps, not really trying to be careful here, just kind of taking stabs in the dark. And up to NG hitting level 14, so he's on the same level as Zarnax. Even Zarnax was sitting there grinding while up to NG was exploring, and yet they're on the same level. Zarnax does hold a slight experience lead, but all up to NG needs to do is find Caitlin. If he can find Caitlin, he'll be in go mode, the same as Mr. Holmes, and he's got an experience lead over Mr. Holmes. So he's not out. He's not out of this at all. Nest Cardinality still trying to track down. Oh, I think he's gonna. Oh, there. Okay, so we're on the other side of the mountain range. He's definitely close. He's gonna find. Yeah, he's gonna find the token momentarily. He searches the spot, got it, nailed it, easy peasy. And so now all he's got to do is walk back to where the jerk is, which is an easy spot. Just walk all the way to the southern border of the map, and it's tucked into a corner there. And meanwhile, up to NG looks like he got bopped out of the grave, and he's going back in. He's really praying that the token is here. And Zarnax cleaning out the treasury in Tantagel. Maybe he forgot what was in there. I'm not sure why he would be back in here. Mr. Holmes. Oh, Zarnax may be setting up for his second gold grind. I'm not sure if he went into... maybe he went...
I know he found Breckenary, but I don't think he checked what the weapons and such, the weapon shop. And yeah, I don't think up to I'm not sure up to NG ever actually died, because he still got the princess.
No, if he has a princess, he definitely has not died. So, you're right. Yeah, so maybe he was in the mountain cave and cast outside. I'm not sure exactly what happened. So you're right. I assume that he died because he was walking back into a cave that I thought he'd been into before. But because he's carrying the princess, then he couldn't have died. So you're right. Nest Cardinality, meanwhile, has gotten the rainbow drop. And he is the second player in our race to be in go mode. Just as you would expect, Nest Cardinality, Mr. Holmes, they are at the top of the SRL standings for a reason. And they're the first to be in the go mode, and that should be a surprise to absolutely nobody in a seed like this. But Zarnax and Up to NG, very experienced racers. They are not out of this. It is really just down to a little bit of misfortune on Up to NG's side that he has not found Cantlin, that he has not found those coordinates. And Zarnax did do a second gold grind, and he is going to go buy a silver shield. He is on the same equipment footing as everyone else in this game, but he still needs to find the staff and the token. So let's see how quickly he can put that together. Mr. Holmes didn't take an intentional death warp to restore his MP. He was out of MP, decided it was faster to just try to fight a few more Axe Knights and then just die. Rather than walk out and go take the inn. And then he's going to be back on his grind. Hasn't quite closed the gap with Zarnax, but I'm sure he will. I give it about 5 minutes at the most before he has taken the experience lead over everybody in this race.
And honestly, I feel like it's a rather gutsy move by Up to NG that he's been carrying the princess this long. I would never have kept. I would have turned the princess in long ago, but I guess Up to NG, I presume, knows what he's doing.
I do have to wonder if Up to NG is in a little bit of desperation mode and not quite. You know, when you get into. Excuse me, when you get into a position like this, you know, at 35 minutes, I hate to say late in a seed, but we are late into a seed, relatively speaking. I mean, Ness Cardality, Mr. Holmes, they're in go mode, they've picked their spots, they're doing their grind. And Zarnax just needs to find some items, and he'll be there momentarily himself. And if you're Up to NG, you know, he has to feel behind. He has to know these are experienced racers that are here in this weekly. And so any little mistake, anything that you find last, could bump you down a few spots. Now, folks, we do have, of course, other people that are not being featured. Let me remind you, we have Beta Strep, Captain Green 7, and Marth SR are the other racers that are not... Beta Strep, Captain Green, Data Plat, and Marth SR. So we do have 4 racers not featured. And I am keeping an eye on IRC. Nobody has finished yet. But I have to imagine, you know, I believe it was Dataplet who kind of made a tear through the bracket. Even in his first, if someone would remind me, I believe we had a first-time racer in this last tournament just absolutely tear through the bracket stage. And so even though we've got our 2 best racers in terms of SRL points, and of course our champion, I do believe Ness Cardinality. You know, anyone could finish a seed like this in first place, and so I will be keeping an eye on SRL, and we'll let you know in case somebody sneaks that victory out. But until then, Ness Cardinality, Mr. Holmes in go mode, and it looks like Up to NG turned in the princess finally. Retro Grizzly Bear, how are we doing? How are we doing? We are in Zoom mode, my friend. We are in Zoom mode. We started this, and thank you so much for the 100 bits. Really appreciate it. And, yeah, just to recap the race, I mean, this has been one of the quickest races I have ever seen, personally. We had Erdrick Sword and a bunch of gold in the throne room, and we started with Hurtmore. And if you have any experience in Dragon Warrior Randomizer, you know that means that we're going to go fast. And to cap all that off, we found Hawksness with the armor. Everyone had that about 10 minutes in. We had a gold grind for the silver shield, which means by about 15 minutes, everyone in this race had the best armor that you could possibly, the best equipment that you can possibly get. And so now it's just a matter of everyone getting the items together. And Up to NG has finally found the town of Cantlin. And Zarnax has found the jerk. I do believe that Up to NG knows where the jerk is. So now all he has to do, I'm almost positive he's turned into the princess. He should be, I don't know if he's going to hit the return spell. He's carefully writing down, looking at his coordinates, writing them down. And he is going to hit that return spell. That is very unfortunate. He's going to try to count this out. And he's going to get the bad news that it's on the other continent. Now, he will get a look on the other side of this mountain range. And he's going to see, oh, I got to get on the other side of that mountain range because I can't go far enough south or west without getting past it. And the only way to get past it, you got to go on the other side of Mountain Cave. And you got to walk northeast for quite a ways. I watched this Cardinality do it. Retro Grizzly Bear in one more level of dive? Not necessarily. Now we see Zarnax, Mr. Holmes. Everyone actually in this race is at level 14. And let's take a look at the stats. So HP 106, MP 86, AP 123, DP 91. So let's do some math. We got 10 heal mores. And when you're fighting Dragon Lord 2, yeah, MP does look a little low. I agree. I completely agree with Retro Grizzly Bear. MP does look a little bit low because we only got 10 heal mores. Now, 10 heal mores means that generally speaking, you're going to get 12 attacks on Dragon Lord 2. So you're counting 2 attacks at the very start of the battle and 2 attacks at the very end when you run out of heal mores. That's 12 attacks. And right now, with our attack power, the math is very simple. You take away 100 from your attack power to account for the Dragon Lord's defense. And then you take the number you have left, you divide it by 2. So that gives us 11. 11 is the maximum damage that we can do. Take that, divided by 2, round down, we get 5. Add those together for 16, divide by 2, you get 8. We are doing 8 average damage to the Dragon Lord at level 14. Now, level 13, the math changes, and that gets much more in our favor. Now, they did not get an extra heal more, but now we're doing 16 to 8 damage, or sorry, 8 to 16 damage, average of 12. And with 12 heal mores, you're looking at an average of 144 damage to the Dragon Lord before you expire.
I think you meant 10 heal mores.
Oh, sorry, they have 10 heal mores, but 12 attacks. Thank you. They do get 12 attacks. So the math works out the same either way. 144 damage. And I do believe, Melee Wizard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe this Dragon Lord can have anywhere from 150 to 165 hit.
I believe that is correct, yes. So, honestly, given the math, I would be kind of iffy about this one. About doing this at level 15. Because if we're looking at an average of 12 attacks, 12 damage per hit with 10 heal mores, that's looking more. That tells me about 120 unless you get double hits.
So what you got to take into account is that if the Dragon Lord 1 doesn't go badly, you should get a double attack to start. And then once you use your last heal more, you'll have 2 more attacks at the end before you die. So you always want to add 2 to your heal more.
Fair enough. But that's still 144, given what we know about the potential HP. I would still consider that a little iffy.
It's definitely iffy, but Mr. Holmes, he's got faith. He's got 94 defense power. He's got 118 max HP. And so, with 118 max HP, with the defense this high, it depends on what the Dragon Lord does. If the Dragon Lord likes to breathe that fire, if he wants to bring the heat, Mr. Holmes might be in some serious trouble. But, if the Dragon Lord does a lot of physical attacks, and if they roll low, I don't know the math off the top of my head, someone in chat, or Melee Wizard, anyone else, feel free to correct me. I think this Dragon Lord could hit for as little as 25. And so I think Mr. Holmes is counting on that. I think his range is probably going to be around 25 to 45. Somewhere in that range. And that would mean that Mr. Holmes could get some double attacks. If he could sneak just 1 double attack in there, and if he can keep his average above 12, I think he can do it, and Mr. Holmes thinks he can do it.
Although I don't
And
think
it's gonna be
Reality is doing a full dive because he is using up heal mores right at this point. So he might be doing a dive hit 16 or something and maybe test the waters. Unless actually no, he's actually still in swamp. Never mind.
Yeah, Nescardinality is still grinding. He doesn't like that level. Nescardinality wants to play it safe. He wants to get that next level, and really all you really need at this point is another heal mar. You get another heal mar, you're looking at 13 times 12, and that's like 156. And if you get a little bit of HP, a little bit of attack power, along with that extra heal mar, that's going to push it over to, well, I think, better than a coin flip. I would honestly put Mr. Holmes right now just a little bit worse than a coin flip. Maybe like 45%. Because he does still have that chance of double attacks in his back pocket. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, we'll be seeing in a moment because Mr. Holmes is on the final floor. And it looks like Zarnax might be making a dive as well.
I think Zarnax wants information. Zarnax jumped in here pretty early, but he's fighting this golem. And the fact that he's fighting it tells me, yeah, he does want experience. We'll have to see if he uses a heal more or any other kind of magic, but I think, honestly, with odds like this, I personally would not go and do my final dive like this. I'd be doing what Nescardinality's doing. He got another level, and we haven't updated the stats yet. Let's go ahead and get those updated. Let's see what the changes are at level 16. All right, that's go mode.
Yeah, it looks like we got one extra heal more, a couple more attack points.
And 6 more HP is a pretty big deal as well.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing on there is that extra heal more.
Absolutely, and the 2 attack power don't, that's nothing to sneeze at, because now you're doing 17 to 8. You're doing 12.5 damage instead of 12 on average. And that half point of damage can sometimes factor in, especially with those 13 heal mores. Now you're looking more at one. You're looking anywhere from, like, I think 155 to 160. Someone else can correct me on that math. But with the 124 HP, sitting on that 94 defense, he's got an even better chance of getting those double attacks. And it remains to be seen. I think right now, we got Mr. Holmes on Dragon Lord. Dragon Lord attacks for 3 damage. Mr. Holmes is going to get his lead-off double. Here we go, folks. We are looking for 12 or better. Oh, but Mr. Holmes gets sniped. He is denied his opening double. Hits for 12.
Oof, ouch.
Hits for 13. He's keeping his average. Can he keep it up? Hits for 12 again, right on his average. But he really needs a double at some point to make up for the one that he lost. And no, the Dragon Lord is bringing the heat, folks. We're only at 48 damage. And I am not liking Mr. Holmes' chances here. Oh, he gets the physical. Can he get another? Yes, he can. Here's a double. Alrighty, we're just swinging right around that average. We're not getting those 16s, not getting those 15s. 71 damage is my count. And finally, we get a nice big 16, bringing us up to 87. But I think that we're going to need another double here for Mr. Holmes to do it. We're only just over halfway home, folks. Just over halfway home. I am not liking these chances. We need a double. 110 is the count.
Ooh, man, it's getting a bit close.
2 heal mores left. Can we get a low physical? No, we get a low physical out of Mr. Holmes. I wanted to say, can we get a low physical out of the Dragon Lord? Caster's Curse. This game does not differentiate between who gets the low physicals. 131 is the count. We need a low HP Dragon Lord, folks. Or a triple. We could see a triple here. Oh my god, 139. And looks like we are going to see the triple. 154, he could do it here. Oh my goodness, folks, a perfect 163 damage. Mr. Holmes has pulled it out in the clutch.
Wow.
That should not have happened. The rolls went against him. The back attack went against him. Everything went against Mr. Holmes, but instead he is rewarded for his boldness. And bringing in the dot done, Mr. Holmes is finished in first place with a time of 48 minutes and 46 seconds. We don't need to take an hour here. We don't need to take 2. We're doing it in 3/4 of an hour. What a blazing scene.
GG. That is about as tight a fight as you would ever want to have, honestly.
Absolutely. I know exactly what I'm going to ask Mr. Holmes. I did go ahead and invite him into Discord with us. And I know exactly what I'm going to ask him as soon as I do. Just waiting for, I did go ahead and invite him in IRC. He hasn't said whether or not he's going to join. Just waiting for that ding that tells us that he's joined us. Meanwhile, we do have other people in this race, of course. Okay, Mr. Holmes said he does want to do the interview. He'll be in here shortly, I imagine. Zarnax, still grinding in the Swamp Cave. Up to NG. Not sure where he's at. He might be in Sherlock. He could be somewhere else. Nest Cardinality, on the other hand, he is fighting this Armored Knight on the Spike Tile.
Yep.
And he is making clever use. I imagine he must have dropped a couple of sleeps or maybe a stop spell. He's missing 4 MP. But that's not going to impact his heal more count. And wisely, using that heal, saving himself an extra herb. Heads-up play from Nest Cardinality. Gonna go ahead and start off this Dragon Lord fight. I cannot imagine that this is going to be difficult for him. But in the interest of fairness here, I'm going to keep track of all the damage values here. And 27 low hits out of Nest Cardinality, but never mind, takes out the Dragon Lord, gets that 1 damage physical, doesn't care, shrugs it off. And the Dragon Lord back attacks Nest Cardinality.
Ouch, not good.
What a mean old Dragon Lord today. 2 back attacks in the same race. I can't believe it, but starting off with a 12 and a 16 is Nest Cardinality.
Meanwhile, we have Mr. Holmes in the booth. GG, sir.
Hey, I forgot about my push to talk yet again. Is Nestcard in pretty much the same spot as me, it sounds like?
Nestcard went ahead and went up to 16. He wasn't convinced that he wasn't feeling it on 15. And it looks like Zarnax is also on 16, and I believe, I'm not sure what Up to NG is doing right now. I think he's doing a cursory dive into Sherlock to get level 16, but he's used up MP. Yeah, he is in Sherlock. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing, though.
Okay.
But yeah, Nestcard's fighting the Dragon Lord right now, and 16, the stats are 124 HP, 89 MP, 134 attack power. So with that tiny boost, that pretty much, in my opinion, puts the odds well within the player's favor. So I haven't been keeping track on the Nestcard's damage, but I imagine he'll be taking out the Dragon Lord any moment now. But Mr. Holmes, the spotlight's on you. Congratulations on your win in this week's weekly race. And the first thing I gotta ask you is, how hard were you clenching during that fight?
I felt great until the Dragon Lord attacked me first. I was like, okay, we could still work with this. And then my rolls were good. Like, they weren't crazy above average, but it's like, okay, as long as I roll average rolls, I have a chance. And then I could have taken a risk very early on, but I was like, nope, be patient, and everything kind of just fell into place. So it was just perfect. A minimum amount of stress.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, your rolls were right around average, and in fact, I was waiting for you to hit a 16, especially with that back attack. I think you hit a couple of 8s and 9s that actually brought you a little bit below, and so that's kind of what I was curious whether or not you were clenching during that fight.
Yeah, I was definitely concerned about 2/3 of the way through the fight. But then I got a double attack in timely manner, and I don't know. I just had to hope.
And remind me, I do believe you got a triple at the very end.
Yeah, like that. It was my last attack that got it, and I only did 163. Like I had done 154, I think, and then I attacked for a 9 on my last one.
That matches up with my math. Very well done, sir. And I do believe we have another finisher in this race.
Yep, we have Ness Cardinality finishing in second with a time of 53:03.
But yeah, to kind of summarize, you said Nescard wasn't so confident about that. Neither was I. It was a matter of if we had one more MP to get 88 MP, no problem. But this one was right on the borderline. But there's this psychological thing when you have a big race and when you have a jet seed like this and you have the opportunity to finish under 50 minutes, it's so hard to pass that up. So hard.
I like it. I was trying to get in everyone's head here, figure out what people are thinking. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of divergence in paths here. A couple of people went west, a couple of people went south. Up to NG had a real hard time finding Cantlin to get the coordinates, and otherwise I think he would have finished a lot closer to you guys. He's grinding for 16, I believe, here on the bottom. He's actually like right on the spike tile in Charlotte, but he's using up MP, so I don't think he's going to finish anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, it was an absolute jet setter of a seed, and I was kind of thinking maybe, Mr. Holmes, for you, going up against Ness Cardinality, and I know you guys are, a couple of you guys there take the SRL points real seriously. I thought that might have been in the back of your mind, like, oh, I gotta go, Ness Cardinality's in the seed, it's a jet set seed, I gotta go, even if it means taking a risk.
Yeah, it's tough to say. If I had to think about it, I think I'm almost slightly the opposite of that. If I really thought it was going to be a serious risk, I wouldn't want to risk like diving, losing like 7 minutes, and then maybe finishing 4th or 5th and really losing a big chunk. Because if I finish 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, usually it's not that big of a deal. But when you start dropping further than that, that's when you can seriously bleed rating points.
Yeah, especially with, I'm not looking at the standings here, but you got Bannistruck, Captain Green, Data Plet, and Martha Sar in this race, and I do believe all of them, not for lack of talent, but just for lack of experience in the races, don't have quite as many SRL points, and so you drop a spot behind them, and you're looking at almost triple-digit losses, perhaps.
Well, maybe not that much, but we'd be talking like 15 to 20. It's not as blatant as you make it sound. Like there's a bit more controlling the variance of ratings, but yeah, that's a lot of points because when there's a gap between the top group and the ones below it, like let's say I lose 20 rating points, whatever, I'd probably have to win like 4 or 5 races just to recover that. It's so brutal at this point. It's just such a huge grind.
Yeah, and I imagine I believe you were the first and only person to get 1,000 points on the leaderboard at one point, so I imagine you would know, as well as anyone, exactly how all of that.
I will point out that Nescard had it, I think, about a ways back. I'm pretty sure even Game Boy had it at one point, but yeah, like that's kind of the threshold I'm grinding towards right now.
If you're talking about... Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
That's Cardinality in the booth. GG, sir.
Hello, everyone. GG.
GG, Nescard.
Mr. Holmes, if you're talking about 1,000 points, yeah, I've been there. I think my peak was above 1050. But, after that point, it's really, really hard to maintain.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to be on the top of your game, like, every single race, or you're just going to, like, wipe out the last 5 races if you finish, like, second.
Absolutely, and if you have a bad luck run or there's something in a corner and it happens to be the last corner you explore, that can cost you a lot if everyone finds it first, that kind of stuff.
Or if you accidentally sell Airdrix armor.
Sure.
Yeah, I will say, just to comment on the seed itself, probably the only difference separating you and myself was I ended up winning at level 15, actually.
Yeah, I sort of figured. I was curious how close together we were. As soon as our restreamers congratulated you the way they did in the chat, I knew you had to have gone at that level and had a close fight.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but Up to NG had grinded up to level 16 right in front of the Dragon Lord and has used the Death Necklace.
Oh my! What is his max HP? I believe his max is 92, starting off with a 20.
Yeah,
and going for the double on... Going for the double on 48, and wow, he's hitting the Dragon Lord like a truck, but this is as ballsy as it gets. Another 20! He is hitting absolutely at the max range of his damage, of his potential damage here, but if he keeps eating these max fire breaths, that he's already just eaten a heal more there, and now he's got a, I believe, a 50-50 whether or not he dies right here. Oh my goodness. What a ballsy play from Up to NG.
Yeah,
I gotta start watching
doubt.
this one.
And meanwhile, Zarnak says, is he grinding on... It looks like he's grinding on the trap tile, actually. It looks like he's gonna go grinding up to 17.
Interesting.
Wow, one more heal more left for Up to NG. Looks like his max is 92.
His max is actually 93, but yeah.
Wow. Okay, there's the last heal more. He got to 92 a second time in a row, which is hilarious. And here's the last attack.
Oh wow, you guys are way ahead of me. I saw him still at 2 heal more.
Last attack victory, amazing.
Wow! Up to NG with the balls of steel, throws on the Death Necklace, 92 max HP. I think he went into that with 8 heal mores, and he said, step back, I got this. And he just snapped. Oh, but Marth SR snatching 3rd place. Marth SR snatching 3rd place right from Up to NG's fingers.
This is an epic race.
Wow, and so Marth SR off stream, not sure exactly what he did, but he did snatch 3rd place away from Up to NG. So Marth SR finished in 3rd place with an official SRL time of 59 minutes, 54 seconds. Congrats to him on the sub-hour. Not every day you see one of those. And then Up to NG right behind him with 1 hour, 27 seconds. And IRC is going crazy.
And justifiably so, because holy cow, that was a gutsy move by Up to NG.
And it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely, because Zarnax, I believe, is going to be starting his fight momentarily. I'm not sure exactly what Zarnax is doing at this point. Maybe he wants to get 7?
I'm convinced he's grinding up to 17, though, given the MP, I don't know. Unless he gets something huge, I don't like his chances right now.
He might be trying to do what Up to NG just did. He might be hoping to get some more HP, to allow him to put the Death Necklace on, but yeah, I don't think it's going to work out for him here, just sitting only on his 7 heal mores.
Well, I mean, Up to NG did it with 8, so...
Alrighty. Yeah, so... Oh, alrighty. Mr. Holmes decided he's going to take a little backseat. It looks like this card has also decided that he wants to take a little bit of a backseat, and I don't blame them, because we do have some exciting stuff going on. We still got some races going on. We only got Zarnax here on the stream, but of course, Beta Strep, Data Play, Captain Green 7 are looking for that 5th place finish.
What's going on, everybody?
And
Yo, Up to NG, my friend.
Are
looking for that.
Yeah.
You definitely earned that.
You may not have finished first, but you got 1st place in the hearts of everybody watching the stream.
Thanks, man. Yeah, got to do what you got to do sometimes. Yeah, it was unfortunate. There were a couple of sort of key mapping decisions that I had to make. It was just like there's no way to know, but I had passed through the grave. I found the grave and I just popped in. I made a note of where it was. My whole plan was to skip it and come back later if I needed it. I really, really, really just wanted to find Caitlin. But unfortunately, when I was walking around there, it turned out that the grave was just really far out of the way. And so I doubled back and decided to clear it out. I kind of wish I didn't do that now, because obviously there was nothing there. So
yeah, I was wondering about that, because I thought I saw you go into the grave and then leave and then come back, and I was a little bit confused. I thought maybe you had died, but you were still holding the princess. Did you grab anything in the grave before, or did you just see the grave and think, no, I don't need to do this?
No, so we already had the sword. I had already found the necklace and the fighter's ring, and all I had left was the token. And I had picked up the flute in coal already, so I knew if I could find Caitlin and if there were coordinates there, then I wouldn't have to go into any dungeons. I was really hoping to find Caitlin first. It's just that because I found the grave, it was just, I was going to skip it and just keep looking for Caitlin. And then when I kept going, that part of the map just led to a dead end. And it was a really long way back to anywhere. And then I realized if I was going to go back to the grave afterwards, it would have been a really long walk back there. So it just was like, it's probably nothing in there, but I might as well just do it now. And that cost me at least 5 minutes, obviously, diving the grave for no reason. If I had just decided to skip it and cast return and return the princess right there, and then just go north from Garenham, and I would have found Caitlin right away. I would have been in the running for, first or maybe second place. But it's just like a decision. I don't know. I really wanted to skip it, but if it turned out that I had to go back to the grave, it would have been kind of a disaster. I don't know. It was a hard decision.
I absolutely agree. It's a hard decision completely, and unfortunately Zarnax, I believe, died while he was grinding at the bottom of Sharlock.
Yep. Wasn't far from level 17, which unfortunately didn't get him that much, but every little bit counts.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled with grinding in Sharlock, as it turned out. I obviously wanted to get the last level on the way because we had really high defense power with I had gotten the Silver Shield early, so I had a lot of defense power. I was breaking a lot of enemies, so I figured I'd fight my way down. But then it was like all Stonemen and Red Dragons, and it was just not that easy to get the next level. I kind of wish if I had known that, obviously I would have stayed with the Axe Knight grind, because that's really fast grind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And unfortunately, like I said, so for our runners on stream here, and I see Beta Strep has finished in 5th place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 26 seconds. Beta Strep died 3 times on the Sharlock dive. Wow, that's unfortunate.
I also wasn't sure if possibly maybe Mr. Holmes finished at 15. I felt like it may have been possible if you got some double attacks.
Yeah, he did. So and his fight came down for the last attack, just like yours did.
That was the close call too. I was wondering if I could have tried to just run from everything and go fight at 15, but I felt like just fighting our way down for one more level was like the safe bet. It was like I felt like you needed at least like 2 double attacks to make it even viable, and it was just so close. And then because Sharlock had all the Red Dragons, I couldn't even keep my MP on the way down, so it would not have worked out for me. But I felt like if you could make it down there, it may have been possible to finish at 15. So
I can tell you from watching Mr. Holmes fight, and anyone who's real curious can watch it back. But what I do believe I saw is Mr. Holmes actually got back attacked by the Dragon Lord at the beginning, so he lost out on one of his what you might call natural doubles. You always get those 2 attacks at the start and the 2 at the end. So he lost out on one of those, but he did get one in the middle. He got 1 double attack on a double physical, low roll physical from Dragon Lord. And then at the end, once he used his last heal more, he actually got a triple. And then he was hitting for, I want to say maybe slightly below his average of 12 damage. But he got the 2 doubles he needed. I think that with the same damage rolls... with the same damage rolls, I think that if the Dragon Lord hadn't back attacked him, that he would have still won. But it was really, really close, and it came down to the last attack. So
Yeah, like a triple at the end is basically like a double attack, in the middle. So he got like 2 double
Right.
attacks, and that's about what I would expect. Like I think we had 118 HP. It's like about right, I guess, on average. But there's no like guarantee you're gonna get those,
right.
And I'm surprised if he got back attack that he actually managed to make it. So
The
numbers are pretty close, I thought, but.
I was surprised too. Believe me, I was sitting here watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
And chat was going absolutely bonkers.
For me, I lost
and,
2 heal mores on the way down to Red Dragons, so I would have had no shot. So I don't know how he managed to get down with all his MP, but it was not that easy of a dive.
No, I agree, and Beta Strep can. Sorry, go ahead.
Like a case in point, when Zarnax was trying to grind up to 17, he had 60 MP, so he had 1 less heal more than you did if he was going to try go into the Dragon Lord fight right then and there.
Yeah, my one other misstep is that I should have realized the shape of the first continent a little better. I went back to the first continent to look for the overworld item, and I should have realized it wasn't going to be there.
Everybody did that.
A couple of minutes too.
Everybody did
really
that.
Should have realized it though, like because I had a pretty good sense for what that looked like, and I kind of should have known that it wasn't going to be there. Just the coordinates weren't going to go there, so I would have saved a few minutes there too. I really shouldn't have done that. But it's good to know that everybody else did that too. But it's still it's definitely a mistake. I would have saved a few minutes.
I can't be entirely sure that Ness Cardinality did it. I think he did. I would think that if anyone wouldn't have done it, it would have been Ness Cardinality because he does like to draw those maps out, and I think he would have been able to see that from the maps that he had drawn. But I know Zarnax did it, Mr. Holmes did it, everyone checked. Because it was so close.
It's possible that Mr. Holmes maybe was already carrying around the princess, so you had to go back there anyways. Like I had already returned the princess because I did that thing with the grave, and I was out in the middle of nowhere, so I returned the princess at that time. So for me, going back again to look for the.
And I was surprised that you were carrying the princess for that long. It's like I was getting kind of worried after a while.
Yeah, I went. It was like I got her on my way through to the second continent one of those times, and it was just like there's not really any reason to go back at that time. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I had grinded early, so I was pretty much invincible. I wasn't too worried about it.
And Zarnax going into the Dragon Lord fight using the Death Necklace, cutting the max HP down to 96.
Then 96 is going to be fine. He can take. As long as he doesn't take 2 max Dragon Lord breaths in a row, then he's completely fine. He's not going to take 48 damage from a physical. We know that for a fact. But I do believe we've got Marth SR joining us in this channel. Marth SR, congratulations on the 3rd place sub-hour finish. Very impressive. Tell us about how your race went, because we didn't see you here on the main stream.
Well, first of all, thank you for the congratulations. I would say I'm stoked. I'm very surprised that I actually finished 3rd. It was a crazy seed, I would say. First off, with Hawksness being that close, making the grind just easy. So basically, I grinded all the way up until 14. And then I decided to go explore afterwards because I figured, well, okay, it's just that little continent. If I go through the cave in Tangel, I'll end up on the bigger continent. And surely enough, that's what happened. And from there, I initially missed Kentlin because I went on the most southeastern part first, so I completely missed it. Then I went up north.
That sounds like my race too. Same thing.
Yeah, so I went up north. Came across the grave. Basically, it's the same as you. I figured I shouldn't do it, but okay, let's go see just in case that the token would be in the chest. Surely enough, it wasn't. And only later on, I stumbled upon Kentlin and figured, well, okay, there are coordinates, so that was wasted time for sure.
Sounds like you and I had the exact same race. Like you're just a little bit faster. That's awesome. Like we did the exact same thing.
Yeah, well, I didn't go for the princess on my first dive in the swamp cave. I just saw that it was a swamp cave, cast it outside. I was eager to see what the other continent was all about. One thing that made me lose time, after I was done getting the token, I absent-mindedly casted Return while I was in front of the Shrine Cave before trading in the Harp. So that cost me about 3 or 4 minutes to go back there after I realized, oh shoot, I don't have the Staff of Rain. So yeah, and basically,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and the Charlotte dive was awful. I mean, just the first floor, I must have had like 16 encounters on the first floor alone.
Were you on level 16 already and just running from everything, or were you fighting in there?
Yeah, I was level 16 because basically
Okay.
I grinded to 16 in the Swamp Cave. I finished my levels from there, and basically I went for the dive and just met so many red dragons, and fortunately enough, they let me go most of the time, but it was scary. It was really, really scary.
Yeah, I lost 2 Healmores to red dragons. I ran into a lot of them as well. So.
Oh man.
Yep, that was like, I guess the only challenging part really was just getting through Charlock. I know a couple of people said that they died in Charlock, so.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid to actually lose Healmores because I had about 89 MP, if I recall correctly. And basically, I had to throw a Healmore away when I encountered the AK-47 gating the Dragon Lord because he had Hurtmore and Healmore, so I had no choice but to stop spell the guy. But yeah, Dragon Lord fight, I was very lucky with my rolls. Had high rolls, had about 3 double attacks. That went well.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Marth, on a fantastic race. A great finish. Going to steal yourself a lot of those very important SRL points from Zarnex up to NG. Just to update everyone on the final results of that race. Unfortunately, Data Pletz did quit in the middle of the race. Things were not going well for him, it seems, based on his comments. But Captain Green did finish in 6th place ahead of Zarnax with an official time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 13 seconds. So congratulations to him. And Zarnax 42 has finished in 7th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 52 seconds. Very unfortunate. We did, of course, see it all in the stream. He just had really bad luck in Charlotte. He also had some bad luck in Hawksness towards the beginning.
Ooh, man, I'll tell you what.
Oh, Zarnax, you here with us? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, how many times did that Axe Knight kill me at the beginning? Because it was...
There was too much going on to keep count, but I imagine it was a lot, because I know you were still on level 7 while everyone else was pretty close to level 10.
Yeah, I knew I was behind at that point. I couldn't get the rolls going my way.
Was he dodging Hurtmores on you, or what?
He was dodging Hurtmores, ambushing, and I think there was one time when I tried, I had 5 MP left, so I was like, all right, I kill one more and then go back to the end, and then heal more or hurt more missed, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I died like 4 or 5 times on that.
Ugh. Yeah, that'll slow you down.
And then
I guess we all probably did the early grind. I guess it was just a matter of how far do you go.
Yeah.
I guess Marth said he went all the way to level 14. I think I went to 12. I don't know.
I went to 15. No, I went to 14.
All the way to 15 before going to the second continent? Wow.
No, I went
You guys are animals.
No. Let's see. I went to, I think, 12 or 13. And then as soon as I found Cantlin, then I went right back to Hawksness as soon as I had coordinates, because then I knew at that point that everything was going to be on the other side, and I either needed to just save the princess, get the coordinates, or find Cole for the token, and I was in go mode. My second continent went as well as it could possibly go, but that was about the only thing that did.
Did you guys both grind for a silver shield, like by going through Swamp Cave and grinding the gold in Garenham by any chance? Because that's how I got it going.
So that was my other stroke of bad luck. I stopped right at 14.8 because I hadn't found a silver shield yet. I was like, I'm not going to go over.
Oh.
Just on the opposite. I
had found Brockenary first, and the full plate and the silver shield were both there. No, they were like, you know, Brockenary is just south of Tantegel.
I hadn't actually even found that yet. So I ground up to 14,800 when I found the chest in Garenham. Then I checked the shop in Garenham, and it didn't have what I wanted. So then I filled up on herbs, and went just under 14.8. And then I found Cantlin, and couldn't afford it. So then I went out to try and get the money for it, but I died. So then I went back to the Hawksness grind, and just set up the gold grind again on my way back to the second continent.
Yeah, it's rough when all these little things don't go well and you have untimely deaths in a seed like this that you know is so fast. It's like, you just know everybody's just going to be finishing. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and then my Shylock dive was just... I think I got to the Armored Knight with 68 MP, maybe? And at that point, I was close enough to level 17 that I figured, well, I'm not going to be able to do it on 16. And so I'm just going to burn a couple stop spells, try and get to level 17, and hope that that's enough attack power to cover the HP or the MP that I'm missing. And
I actually did. I had that exact same MP, and I actually managed to do it on 16. I used the Death Necklace and just went YOLO. So, I don't know. 92 HP.
And some godlike damage rolls out of your hero there.
That's fantastic. Good, well done.
That's just a gamble, yeah. I mean, I figured like Brockenary was real close by to Tantegel if I had to take it off or whatever. It was just like, all right, let's just try it.
Yeah, Brockenary was close by, fortunately. Unfortunately, Zarnax, I think, was actually missed Brockenary early on. I just don't think you ever went south to find it because everyone else was sitting on a silver shield. You actually grinded up to enough gold to get that silver shield. But I'm not sure you knew where one was when you did that grind, Zarnax.
No, I did not. That's why I spent the gold on herbs. Then I found the silver shield about a minute later when I went to found Cantlin.
Yeah, that was very fortunate that one happened to be there. I was feeling kind of bad because also, well, actually, at one point I seem to remember you had bought those herbs and then you walked into Brockenary and then walked right out without checking the shop. But fortunately, it didn't penalize you in any way. But sitting here in the commentary booth, I was kind of sad.
Yeah, when I found Brockenary, I knew where everything I needed was already.
Had you already found the silver shield in Cantlin when you found Brockenary?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough.
It.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. All right, folks. Well, thank you guys so much. Very interesting here listening to Uptune G and Zarnax chat about their experiences. And, sorry, what's that?
One question. How close behind Mr. Holmes was I before my first death?
Before the first... you mean the first death in Shylock or the first death period?
Yeah, first death in Shylock.
It's hard to say. I can tell you... What I can tell you is that Mr. Holmes was by far the first. He was the first person to get into Go mode and the first person to Shylock. Nest Cardinality was not very far behind him. Sorry, Melee, was it...
I want to say... at the time that your first death in Shylock, I believe that was during Mr. Holmes' Dragonlord fight.
Okay. Because, yeah, I knew I entered Shylock before he finished. I wasn't sure how far behind I was.
Yeah, because I want to say you died during his Dragonlord fight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like Mr. Holmes had a pretty significant... I do know that someone in chat mentioned when the experience deficit or when the experience lead switched, because I know Mr. Holmes was fairly behind everyone in terms of experience, but then he ended up getting into Go mode first. and then just with that Axe Knight grind, I mean, he took the experience lead really, really quickly.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing. If you had gone north and found Cantland right away, and then you got the coordinates, and then if you went and got the princess or something, and then went south, you would have found Cole on the way and found the flute there. So then you would have realized that you didn't have to go into any dungeons. Like being able to know not to go into the dungeons was the key. I mean,
and that's exactly And that's exactly what happened with Nest Cardinality. I don't know if that's exactly what happened with Mr. Holmes. I have to imagine it was the case. But I know that Nest Cardinality was finding multiple dark dungeon, and he was like, well, I don't need to explore this, so I'm just going to walk out. And I even know at one point he found the Stones of Sunlight Cave and didn't even bother checking that chest. I mean, he was wasting absolutely no time in this.
I never found a single cave that I didn't need. Never found Mountain Cave, Tablet Cave, Garen's Grave, or the bonus cave.
Yeah, exactly. See, because with my routing, I didn't find Cantland, so I did end up going through Tablet, and then I went through the grave also. But I can imagine, like, if I had found Cantland first, I would have found Cole on the way for the flute, so I would have known, that the token was on the map. And then the two, the Jerk Cave and the Shrine Cave were like close by to Cole also, and at that point, you just didn't have to go any further. That would have been like the most optimal way.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, unfortunately, for Zarnax, I do think it came down to a little bit of that Char luck that we talk about from time to time. And with 2NG, it did definitely come down. And probably our other racers off stream as well. Just not finding Cantland. I mean, in Zarnax's case, he didn't go south at the beginning and didn't see Breckener right away. Didn't get that, pre-10-minute silver shield that most people got. And then up 2NG didn't go north right away out of Garenham and just missed Cantland. And otherwise, we might have had our top 4, even our top 5 finishing in an hour. But, that's how this thing goes, unfortunately.
All right. Thanks to the Restream team. You guys are awesome. I'm going to have to watch it later.
Yeah.
Thanks for volunteering.
Likewise. I'm out. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Zarnak. GG. Sorry about the last place finish, but, there's always next time. And I'm sure there will be... I would be remiss if there was not a race happening right after this one. I'd like to do a race. We'll have to see what happens, but thank you so much, Sarnak, and just Sarnax. Whether or not we do another race, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And going to go ahead and thank the team behind the scenes here. We had Skousen doing the restream again. Wonderful job as always. Melee Wizard here, my co-commentator, as well as Tracker, keeping up, doing a great job, keeping up with the chaotic, fast-paced 4-player action. Thank you so much, Melee Wizard.
Yeah, that was definitely something that was definitely kind of tricky to keep track of there.
Absolutely. Alrighty. And of course, my name's Lavkin. Please give everybody a follow. Do not forget, we have Mr. Holmes, This Cardinality, Up 2NG, Zarnax42. Who else is in this race? Martha SR, Data Plant, Beta Strep, Captain Green 7. I believe that rounds out the entire race. Skousen, Melee Wizard, and of course myself, Lavkin. Please drop us all follows. And until next time, thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.